Welcome back, everyone. Many of us wonder why we aren't successful when it comes to money. Today's guest says it all starts with your mindset. Here to explain is our local financial professional, Nick Folks with Great Waters Financial. Welcome back.
Oh, always a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
You know, money can be a difficult subject to talk about, but Nick tells us it's not about how much money you make or even how much you have.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into your mindset, right? So mindset affects everything. Having a positive mindset, having the appropriate mindset can affect your money. It can affect your weight loss. It can affect everything about you. So getting your mind right is one of the first steps to being able to build out the wealth you want to build out.
If you were to lay out 3 mindsets everyone should have, you often say you would first start with budgeting versus a spending plan.
Yeah, so a lot of people hate the idea of budgeting. They say that budgeting feels like constraint, right? It feels like control, and it makes people feel, I just can't really live the life that I want to be able to live. So we say, okay, well, let's flip that mindset and let's think about it more as a spending plan. You see, when you have a spending plan, you're figuring out how do you want to spend your money appropriately? What is the best way that you can spend it? How much you want to spend on your home, your mortgage, your rent, how much you want to spend on groceries, how much you want to spend on having fun. And that little change in your mindset, giving your money purpose, can really help people get themselves organized.
And we know spending is a necessity, but we also need to save, and lots of us like to invest.
Yeah, so there's a big difference in mindsets from saving to investing, right? So when we say saving, a lot of people think about things like emergency funds, things that give them security, making sure that 3 to 6 months of savings is there in case you lose your job or something like that. But when you're planning long term, you're thinking about what you want to build over time, retirement planning, things of that nature, well, then we're more talking about investing. And investing means that we have to figure out what's the appropriate level of risk for us. How do we want to manage our money? What are we comfortable with? And then making sure that that risk is set based on the age that we're at in our life.
That's key, figuring out your risk. And finally, let's talk about reactive planning versus proactive planning.
Yeah, so 75% of baby boomers today, that's 10,000 people who are turning 65 every single day right now, do not have a financial plan in place for going into retirement. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have financial assets. It just means they haven't thought through all of the moving pieces in their plan. So things like their spending plan or their tax plan or their social security plan or their investment strategies or their extended healthcare plans. And these are critical components to having success in retirement. Sometimes if you start too late, it can feel like you're behind the ball. So even talking to a professional 5 to 10 years before you're getting ready for retirement can be key. So you can start to put the puzzle pieces in place and paint the picture that you want it to be. If people have more questions about financial planning, you can check out our website, greatwatersfinancial.com.
Before we let you go, is it too late, though, to change your mindset?
It's never too late to change your mindset, but what it does take proactive planning. So you have to think about, okay, what are the steps, what are the habits, what are the things I'm going to put in place to make sure that I can be successful in changing my mindset, and then who's going to hold me accountable to it? Who can I bring into this process and let them know the changes I'm trying to make?
Well, Nick, you can hold us accountable and our friends and family at home, hopefully.
Sounds good to me.
It's all your mindset. If you missed any of today's Nick's financial tips, that's okay, because we are going to post this segment and a link to Nick's website on our 11 a.m. show page. That's on KARE11.com.